friends. Welcome back to another episode of Ruddle Me This. I am your host, the Calcium King, Taylor Ruddle. In this episode, we have a very special guest. He is a young man who is very near and dear to me. We have Matt Coombe joining us today. Matt is a stand-up comedian based up in Auckland, and he is a young man, but he has a hell of a lot of hustle in him. He runs heaps of the open mics. Also, I think he runs a couple of ticketed shows up there. He ran the University of Canterbury O-Week show that I was very lucky to be able to get a spot on, mainly because half of the audience had COVID, so they needed people to jump in last minute, and I was more than happy to dive right on in there. Matt and I actually just got nominated for a few awards at the New Zealand Comedy Guild Awards 2024-3. I don't know how they work. I think they're for 24. But yeah, he got nominated for a whole bunch of stuff for producing gigs, and if you've ever listened to this podcast before, you would have heard me talking about what a thankless job producing comedy shows is. And the fact that Matt does so many of these is outstanding, as well as working full-time on top of his usual gigs and stuff. So, very, very driven young man. In this episode here, we didn't really know what to talk about. Normally in my Ruddle Me This series is I like for the comedian to have some kind of obsession or niche topic that they talk about, but Matt didn't really have one, so we just kind of did like a general two dudes talking kind of podcast. And there's a story in there where Matt talks about a duck, an encounter that he had with a duck that had me absolutely laughing my head off listening to that. Matt messaged me a couple of days ago. He was slightly concerned that this would be, in his words, the worst episode of the podcast, because I didn't realize it at the time, but he was very, very sick when we recorded this podcast, and he didn't want to cancel on me, so good on him for soldiering on. So in order to temper your expectations and maybe make it a little easier on Matt's conscience, I've released this one as another bonus episode, a Wednesday bonus episode. I remember we also had a lot of tech issues with Zoom. There was a week or two when I was recording some episodes back a few weeks ago, and for some reason Zoom, the connection between Zoom, Christchurch and Auckland was not good. I remember both cities were having a lot of rain, and I think that might have been making it a little difficult. So because of the technical issues and Coombe being slightly nervous that people's expectations are going to be high, I've released it as a bonus episode, so just take it for what it is. So with that, let's get into the interview. Please welcome to the show, Matt Coombe, everybody.
I don't know, I'm living like this perfect comedian dream, like working full time so I can afford to go to gigs and claim all that shit on taxes.
Have you gotten onto Henry?
Yeah, bro. Yeah. Henry's a lifesaver.
I just made the switch over, so like it's been golden, eh? It's like so good to. I didn't realize how much it weighs on you having to keep track of like putting money aside for tax, but now that I don't have to, I'm just like, man, that $23 is all mine.
Yeah. My favorite thing though is like, because now it's working with my warehouse tax, so I'm getting less and less pay every day, and it's fucking awful. Like a $200 gig, it's turning into like $93.
Yeah, this like, country. I remember when I was studying, I had a the hell was it? It was not a student loan. It was like a student allowance or something, and if you made over a certain amount each week, you had to be on hold with them at the IRD for like 40 minutes just to tell them like, hey, I made $3 more than my little quota allows. And then they'd be like, all right, well, we're going to dock you a student allowance, $3. And they'd be like, okay, cool. I don't have to do this again, right? They're like, oh, no, if you make more next week, you have to do the same thing. You're just like, oh, Jesus, like, feels like you're being punished for being like industrious and hardworking sometimes, eh?
Oh, I definitely feel that, especially since like I'm working all this time plus producing plus doing comedy, and I'm broke as fuck still. Like I'm making a lot more money, but I'm also probably spending a lot more, and it hurts because I'm at retail. Like I have people who are doing like benefit fraud, and like the other day, someone literally bought a 75-inch TV and a PS5 on wins, and I was just like, why the fuck do I even work? Like there's no need to work in this country.
Oh,
you
I see,
just
right.
Get that. Yeah,
that's tough, eh? Yeah, that's it's bizarre, eh? Because then like I think it depends on how you ask though, like because then sometimes if you go on like the Reddit for New Zealand, you'll see people that will just be like, how am I supposed to survive on like wins? They've got like $10 left over after rent and stuff like that comes out. So it's maddening, eh?
Yeah, definitely. Let's shit on poor people this whole time. This would be a pro-national podcast. That's what the world's missing.
Technically, I'm unemployed at the moment, so I could provide the other side of that coin for you.
Yeah. So what you're gonna do is rock up to the warehouse, get a 75-inch TV, and a PS5. All good, mate.
Maybe that's what I got to do then. That's the missing piece of the puzzle. I don't think I'd have the time for it. Like, are you into gaming?
I used to be until my I sold my PS4 and my PC broke, which is like the biggest. Like, honestly, I could spend a whole day on the computer, so it breaking was the biggest help for me personally.
I've had that same effect with you know how Reddit. Do you know anything about the drama with Reddit at the moment?
No, I haven't heard anything about Reddit.
They're basically just making it harder for people to run side apps. Like, you can browse it on the official Reddit app, but it's apparently not very good. And I think about a month ago or a couple of weeks ago now, they like cracked down on people with these like unofficial apps. And I thought like, oh yeah, maybe I'll download the original one. But like the same thing with your PC is like, it's actually been good because I know I'm not like wasting time just scrolling on Reddit now. It's like actually been all right. So maybe if for Twitter and Facebook and all that go down as well, I might actually get something done throughout the day.
Yeah.
Going up to Threads.
I joined Threads, used it once, I hated it so much. I was like, this is so like I'd never liked Twitter. Like, I'm part of that generation where we don't give a fuck about it. But every comedian's like, bro, get on Twitter. Like,
that's
Tim Batt
tells me,
yeah. Tim Batt saw one of my Facebook posts and he's like, why the fuck are you posting it? Well, he didn't say that. He's very kind. But he was like, why are you posting it here so like 6 Facebook people can see it? Put it out onto Twitter.
My good
and
man.
And I put it on Twitter and it got 1 like.
Nice.
And I tagged him in it and it wasn't even from him. I think it was Craig.
So he was just like, put it on Twitter, man. I'll like it. And then he just like seen it.
Yeah, he was just like, oh no, never mind, not as funny anymore.
we can talk a little bit about social media for our like topic, because we're both producing shows. And like, do you enjoy social media? Like, I don't think I really enjoy it, but it's kind of a necessity for what we do. Like, I very rarely think to take out my phone and film and record stuff when I'm like out and about. But like when we're promoting stuff, there's really, I don't know of any other ways to get the word out to people. And when we ask them at shows, like, how did you hear about the show? Like, most of them just mumble when I saw it on Facebook. So like, it's I don't know. What are your event finder mainly for yours?
Yeah, event finder I reckon is the way to go, because that's crossing over to like Google now. So when you search up comedy events, it's crack up as, because sometimes my free Saturday night comedy shows up higher than the classic shows.
Fantastic.
I'm just like, take that
SEO unlock, man.
Yeah. I just chuck it through Chat GPT, writes everything for me now.
I'm gonna have to eat some crow, I think, because I was one of the people that thought Event Finder was gone. Like, do you remember how probably like just after pandemic they changed up their system, so you have to pay, you have to subscribe to it basically to list ticketed events, and I think you can list one for free, one like paid event for free. And I noticed that like none of my listings on it were really getting any like page views, and I thought like, geez, they really want you to pay to host events on there. And I thought, oh, this platform's done. Like, that's the canary in the mine shaft whenever a service goes from free to trying to get you to subscribe to things. It's usually a sign that it's not going well.
And saying that with Pornhub, man, I think it's been going stronger since they introduced that premium shit.
Because they can assure the quality, I guess, right?
yeah. You want to find the extra good shit, you gotta pay for that.
Well, I suppose that's the thing, is money talks, right? But it seems like I have to eat my words there. I actually noticed my last gig that I was running got a lot of views on Event Finder, so I think I was wrong. I think they might have steered into the, when you slide on an icy road and you have to steer, like counter steer or whatever. I think
they've drifted back on. Yeah.
No,
big advocate for Event Finder, but the thing is also you list it on Event Finder, and what I've started experimenting with is you list half the tickets on Event Finder, half the tickets on another thing, because then you get that double Google
You
search.
make them fight for
it. yeah. Like
really
whoever
funny.
sells more deserves it more.
You have like two lines at the door, like the Event Finder people and the Humanities people. Like, no, you're in the poor section. Go get over in the Humanities section.
Event Finder, we roll out the red carpet, shake their hand personally. Humanities, we go spit in their face. Like,
I remember when
you're lucky we let you in here, you freaks.
I remember when I was delivering pizzas. I was working for Hal, and we showed up at a house, and a guy in a Domino's car like rolled up at the same time, and I was like, man, did this person get like, he got like a pizza from Hal, and he got like a couple of sides from Domino's, and we like arrived at the same time, and the dude and I didn't really know what to do. We're like, man, we're supposed to like fist fight in the street now? Like, what's the protocol here?
God damn.
We should. What was your first one that you started producing? Was that the Red Bar?
No, that was Zach's bar, which was a.
Oh, I remember that.
Yeah. I'm like, for someone who produces a lot, I've fallen, and a lot of gigs have just been handed into my lap, to be honest. Because Zach's bar was run by Ashad and AJ, and then I emceed it once, and they outsourced it to me, basically.
They were like, hey, you seem like a pretty trustworthy fella. Like, how about you? You want to run this every week?
Well, I emceed one time, and they're like, oh, you should just come every week and then run it. And I was like, okay.
Were they
and I was
comics
running
too?
it. Yeah, they were comics too.
Okay.
Interesting. One of them, yeah. So they gave it up, and then I just took it over.
Yeah, there's one thing if any new comics are listening. I know there's a couple of like newish comics that are running. Definitely, if you get the opportunity to run your own thing, definitely do it, because like you'll get good real quick. Especially with the emceeing. Like when I was hosting an open mic every Tuesday, that was like the quickest I got better. And like the whole time I've been doing stand up, it was just like when you don't have a choice, but you're hosting every week, it's like, yeah, you got to learn how to do it quick. But then after Zach's, what came after that?
Oh, we missed the intro. Should I start it again so we can get the intro into it?
No, I would like to keep this podcast for as long as I can. I don't need to get cancelled.
Okay, so we're not going to talk about how you've been embezzling funds and haven't paid taxes in the past 6 years.
Yeah, no, I'd really prefer if we could leave that out, if that's okay with you. So what else are we talking about? Running stuff. What's your kind of plan for the next couple of years? Are you like pretty happy working and gigging, or are you thinking you might start doing like Laugh Mob full time, that kind of thing?
To be fair, I need to keep working because I get bored as like I booked a week of annual leave, but I'll produce, I'll do all this. I did the same amount of everything, which was still very little. So I need something, but I would like to work part time. Yeah. I would love to do like 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, something like that, 20 hours a week plus producing.
That'd be the goods, eh? Just enough to pay the bills. I was watching, do you know the sketch show called Portlandia?
No, I haven't heard that.
Do you know who Freddie Armisen is? He's an SNL comic.
Yeah.
It's like him and I cannot remember what her name is, but he's got like a writing partner, and they made this show Portlandia together. I've only seen a couple of episodes of it, but it is quite funny. And the first episode, they're talking about how apparently that dream of being like a slacker never died in Portland. And he was like, yeah, people just work a couple of days at a coffee shop to pay the bills and then just hang out with their friends. I was like, that sounds great. Like, why can't we have that here?
That's genuinely like the best way to live. Fuck working full time. That shit sucks.
Yeah, I think that's a generational shift, right? Like this is one thing my parents, I think they're a little bit uneasy about me doing like the creative kind of pursuit, is because like to them, like the baseline of like whether you're like successful or not is if you're holding down 40 hours a week. And like they've definitely come around to it now, and like they're like stoked that I'm getting gigs and stuff like that. But like I definitely know it took them a wee while to kind of understand that, like, you know, to like our generation, it's not really that appealing to just like.
Well, okay, hold on, mate. Let's put this distinction right here. Our generation, we know full ass.
Vaguely sort of mid-30s guys, you know, our generation.
I look mid-30s. I barely cracked 20, mate.
Well, we always joke that I look like the next Pokemon stage after you, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Next evolution.
yeah. And then but yeah, no, so you're a young man. But I mean you're like a Zoomer and I'm a millennial, right? So we're not so different, you and I.
Oh fuck, okay, maybe not to you, mate.
Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
No, to be fair, like that first time we met, I was just like, I was real anxious because I was like, I heard Berg is telling me about how like you're a little bit older than me. I was like, oh fuck, he's gonna think I'm just the most immature, annoying person ever. I think 5 minutes into that conversation, I was like, I love this man. I'll die for him.
Craig, who is this child speaking to me right now?
It was weird when you did that, to be honest. You're like, do I have to spank him if he keeps talking up?
Send him to the naughty step, Craig. This child is but that's the weird thing with stand-up, I think, is like I've never met like another stand-up and been like that we felt like worlds apart, if that makes sense. I feel like
definitely.
You can see like the comics table after a gig or whatever, and it'll be like people from early 20s up to like 50s, and I don't know, I think that's quite cool. I've never been like, man, check out this old, MFer, or like, I don't understand anything this bloody Zoom is saying, and like, yeah, I don't know, it's a nice one. That's not been your experience.
No, I agree with that completely. I just want to clarify: are we not allowed to swear on the Taylor Ruddle podcast?
I know you
What's
can.
An MF? Okay, let's say.
Well, so we could talk about this a little bit. Actually, is like you work fairly blue on stage. I think like you curse and talk about explicit stuff. Is like I don't really, but I do in my personal life. So it's like I never know what people are expecting me to do on this. I feel like they get that it's more casual and I'm going to drop curse words, but like I really didn't realize how little I curse on stage until a couple of years ago. Someone pointed it out. I was like, really?
Well, yeah, I mean, there's definitely a place for that, but like I go blue because that's where the true laughs are.
Well, I feel like that's where you can get gut laughs really easy, right? Like it's not so cerebral quite often. But I would say you're pretty good at coming up with the thinky stuff. Like we tend to bounce gags off each other and all that. So the listeners can't see, but he pointed to his temple there. Just silently.
Yeah. I mean, there's also in like Auckland and the gigs I'm doing currently, it's more of a fight. Like at the Classic, the clean and smart stuff goes super well. But when you're in a ding dong lounge and you're struggling to get people's attention, and you're just like, oh, here's a clever anecdote about politics and shit like that, we don't care.
Yeah,
so
you
I guess because
like some of your trauma and stuff, and they're like, huh, what?
Whereas I feel like you're doing more like restaurants and like corporate gigs, so your customer base is definitely like, if you did go my style, it'd probably eat shit. And same if like I did your style up here, it would probably eat shit.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think Canterbury people are quite I don't want to say timid is maybe timid's the wrong word, but like I've had people that have been to shows and they've just been like, oh, lot of swearing in that show, wasn't there? And I'm kind of like, come on, surely you curse as much as that at home, kind of thing. What's been good is we've been doing Laugh Club, which is at the Austin. This cool little underground. Actually, this one thing. There's got Basement Theatre up in Auckland. Are there any other like basement gigs up there?
I mean, technically, Ding Dong's in the basement and up the stairs. But apart from that, not. Oh, we got El Bruto on Tuesdays. That's pretty basementy.
Oh yeah, that's run by what are they called? Real Terrible, which is he
Chester Ito?
Chester, yeah. I go to call him Jester, and I'm like, wait, no, that's not right. It's Chester, yeah. No, good on them. I really like the design for their one. It's that like human cartoon pizza thing. Looks great.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
Nothing, man. I'm just back on my grind. I'm trying to be like, the easiest way for me to progress now is to get lots of reels. So now I'm just trying to do a lot of hyper specific shit, because if you like, what I was doing was I was casting real like just generic nets out with all my content. And now I'm just like, if I go hyper specific and it happens to latch to someone into that, I reckon it's going to go way more viral.
Do you know, weirdly enough, I was talking about this with David Corios recently. We were talking about making jokes like for the internet. And it feels like all three of us have had this mic, because like not a lot of comics in New Zealand experiment with reels online, do they? Like, I mean, some people post them, but a lot of the times that's just them posting a 7-minute unedited wide shot of them at an open mic or something, right? Like that's a lot of people upload that and then they're just like, yep. And it's like, God, why would you upload just a random open mic set? Like, that is harrowing to me. But that being said, I think a lot less people watch that kind of thing than I think. So you probably can upload the same crap a few times and not everybody's going to see it. But yeah, that's something we've both been experimenting with, is the online stuff. Are you still doing YouTube clips?
I am. Recently, I've been very bad because I was at a couple of gigs where I got filmed professionally, and they have not sent me that footage back yet. I'm sort of waiting for that because I was going to release the Coombe special.
Oh, that's a good name. I like it. I love that clip that you had. It was like a guy, and I guess it was like his wife or something, and he like starts rubbing her leg, and she just hits him in the belly, and like, he just like backs off. That's such a good clip.
I was literally just watching that back, and then I was just like, "Oh, what the fuck?" Because I didn't notice it at the time. Obviously,
yeah,
it's just amazing. The stuff you catch in the background of your reels is, in my case, often a lot funnier than the actual reel
that's
itself.
One thing I've started noticing at these ones, that because like the laugh cellar is really intimate. You can probably get 25 people in there. So like, you know, you only need 15 for it to feel like it's a full house, which is great, because like it's just so good to run new jokes for, because like you, even if it's like a small mic, you can get a good like kind of gauge as to how well it's going to do in like a bigger room and stuff. And I've noticed like people, I don't know how to explain this, but it's almost like they forget that we can see their reactions to stuff, especially in a room like that, which is tiny. And like I've had people like whisper something to each other, and like I've just been like, what was that? And then like they look over at me like, hang on, like, wait, we didn't think you were like paying attention. And I just had this realization of like, yeah, like, so people that are going to do that kind of thing, like they sort of don't really care what I think about their reaction. They're just like with their buddies, and they're just like, you know, they nudge their friend and like whisper like an inside joke, or they'll kind of like, you know, like if you do like a punchline, they'll like nudge them and be like, oh, that's you. And like I really have to stop myself from like trying to force myself into that area, into that interaction. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I force myself into it because I think it's way funnier, to be honest. If they whispered that shit, I want to find out what's happening. Like yesterday I did, not yesterday, 2 days ago I did Papa Moa.
Yeah.
And I was in a cinema, and then one dude,
that looked like a cool room.
It was a sick room. We all thought this dude had fallen asleep, and then I called him out on it, and he had his phone, and he was just watching the Warriors game.
Oh,
so he looks up and he was like, "Oh no, bro, you're all good. I'm just watching the Warriors."
Man, the confidence, eh?
I was just like, damn, those diehard fans.
We did this spot out in Methven, which is like probably about 40 minutes from Christchurch, and there was the weird thing was it was a bit of a hard night because it was like a rural crowd, and the MC, my friend John, he didn't quite know how to MC a rural crowd, so it was a bit of a long night for us. But there was they were a couple, and like the whole night they had the dude's phone playing like the Crusaders game silent, like he'd muted it, so like he was a G, you know, he was considerate. And somehow, even though they were like half focusing on us, half watching the rugby, they were still some of the best, like most interactive. Like they laughed the loudest. They were just great audience members. Like, man, these guys are like really good. Like, so that's how you know you're doing a rural or just a Kiwi gig, when someone's trying to keep an eye on the rugby as well as watch the comedy.
That's why what we got to do is every gig we do, we just hand out phones and play a pre-recorded match. So then they'll love our show even more.
It's a bit like when they joke that young people need Minecraft parkour and Subway Slider and like Family Guy clips to focus on anything.
Oh,
actually,
have you seen
oh, go ahead.
Oh, yeah, no, I definitely agree with you with that. I've actually even seen now in like cinema in America, the what's it called, AMC, I think their name is. Yeah. they're literally having specific rooms where they have like on the side screen, like on main movie, and on the side like a Subway Surfers
Oh my
clip.
goodness.
I just saw that. I was just like, someone went to watch Barbie, and they're just like, oh yeah, it was a bit distracting trying to watch the Subway Surfer clip.
This Barbie movie was getting in the way of me enjoying my Minecraft parkour. I was gonna release a version, that COVID joke special that I did. I was gonna release a version of that, which was gonna be like the main video was gonna be tiny in the middle, and it was gonna have Minecraft parkour and Subway Surfer at the top of it, just to see, like, because it was one of those things where if it got a bunch of views, it would be great, but if it didn't, it also was just kind of dumb and funny.
Yeah, no, it's definitely such an easy thing to do.
Yeah,
that will
you
just
even see like the Onion. Do you know the Onion?
Yeah.
You'll see them that will do like these threads that are just like Q&As almost, and in the background it will just be Minecraft parkour, and it'll be showing the text on the screen. It's like, wow, even the Onion are like, we're going to stop fighting, like we're going to stop trying to swim upstream. We're just going to embrace it, and we're just going to go for it.
Yeah, I mean, there's the perfect guy I've seen who does it is like Mr. Purple. So it'll be like a Family Guy scene. So, hey, hey, Peter. I can't do it.
Yeah.
But it's like, hey, Peter. And then it'll be like the Wheel of Fortune clip. And it's like, what's your letters? He'll be like, Z, like from the clip, Z. And then that piece of shit ball from the game below that just comes up, and it's the most beautiful thing I've ever seen.
I guess this is an interesting question, is like, I know a lot of older comics are like despairing that like people's attention span's going away, and they've got to do stuff like that. Like, you're not making content for the people in the room, you're just making it to post online. Like, what do you see for stand up? Like, what do you see? Do you see any trends that are going to take off? Or like, as a young person, what are your impressions of the way it's going to progress?
Well, I mean, it's obviously now just crowd work clips, and a lot of them are varying the degrees of the same shit, and that's why no one's going viral, because everyone's like, "Oh, what do you do for a job? Oh, that."
You guys a couple? You're not a couple, dude. He's trying to fuck you, right? And just all that kind of thing, right?
Now we can finally reveal all the bad shit we've been saying off camera. The third take, because the comedy gods don't want us together because they know we're too powerful.
That's true, man. We would shake the earth to its very foundations. I think let's just I think to the listeners out there, this is probably going to be a spotty one. We've had some tech issues. I suspect probably because Christchurch right now is having hella rain at the moment. Not quite as bad as what you guys up there had. Craig made the comment, Auckland does everything better. So I feel like
I thought we do.
Yuck. So yeah, let's finish off that question, and then we'll wrap it up. So yeah, like you were saying, it's all kind of crowd. Like you say, it's all crowd work stuff, and it's all just like, are you two together? No. Oh, he's trying to bang you, right? And all that sort of like, all that sort of nonsense. But I guess if you look at, are you aware of the comedian Matt Rife? He like sold out a world tour like using that business model. So I guess it's like you can't really argue with the results, but it is kind of lame to see, I guess, isn't it?
Well, I mean, I think Robert Scholes, I don't know if you've seen him, Blonde Guy, he really popularized it, doing all these things, and then Matt Rife
Andrew
just sort
Schultz?
Yeah, probably.
The New York
I know
guy.
it's so Schultz. Yeah. He really
Schultzy.
popularized it.
For sure, yeah.
Smashing out these things. And then Matt Rife sort of, I know a lot of, like, he was getting boosted. Like, my friend, she didn't think he was funny, but she thought he was hot. So she'd watch the video longer, which means it got pushed to more people, which means he got higher views and all that stuff. And then people who did find him funny, because he is funny,
he is.
Obviously got to see the video. So it's just like, damn. I also love, I don't know about this, is sort of side topic, but like when people find out you're a comedian, I don't know if your friends do this, they'll send me reels of other comedians.
All the time, man. All the time.
I'm just like, well, cool. Thank you for sharing the. But also, if you had that same energy sharing out my clips,
I know, right? Send this to other people.
Tag 3 friends that might like this video.
You might have had this. You've done a few corporate gigs and stuff yourself. Like, you've done kind of like not just pub and club gigs. There's this. We get it down here quite a bit, but you know how there's always like a couple of dudes that like kind of like want to join in, and they think they're helping the show by heckling and calling out stuff and just being like generally disruptive. And then afterwards, when you're all kind of chilling, they come over and like want to like banter with you and be all like, us, I'm not like these saddos out here. I got a sense of humor. Like, they
I'm one of the cool guys like you guys.
Yeah, I could have been a comic too, and it's just like I've started doing it's that exact same thing as like when people find out at a non-stand-up thing and they find out I do stand-up, it pretty quickly becomes just like, have you seen this bit by like this comedian? Like, he's really funny, and it's just like all that sort of thing. And it's always, like you said, it's always the same kind of conversation. So now it's become a thing where like I kind of like being in events where people don't know what I do, because it's like they don't like try to it's almost like they want the comedian's approval, even though you're kind of like, you don't need it, man. Like, I'm going to talk to you because you're just another human. Like, you don't need to like prove to me that like, you and me, or we're a couple of funny buggers. Like, it's just like I'm
elitist. I'm like, make me laugh. Tell me your jokes then.
This is you to comics.
No. These are me to like hecklers and crowd members after the show.
You make them tell them. But have you ever had it where they come up to you after a show and they're like, they're sloshed and they're like, I got a joke for you. And you're like, oh God, here we go. And then they're like, they tell you like the first line of the joke and you already know what the joke is and you've heard it before. And you're like, I know the ending of the joke. And they're like, I'm going to tell you the joke. And you're like, I know the joke. I know how it ends. You're not going to make me laugh with it. Like, I've heard it so many times. And it takes them like 15 minutes to tell the joke. And you're just like, yep, as I said at the start, I knew how that joke was going to end. Like, you're not going to get a laugh out of me because I don't. There's surprise in it.
I had that, and then the guy was like, "Oh, I just watched this comedy show. He was so sloshed. He forgot that I was one of the comedians on the show." He was like, "Oh yeah, that fat guy who took his shirt off was hilarious." I was like, "Oh yeah, what was his name again?" He goes, I don't know. I was like, "Oh, did he look like this? Take my shirt off." He's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Oh, for the next time, here's a joke. Says the most hacky, racist bullshit ever." And the thing is, I didn't laugh because obviously I didn't find it funny because it was very fucked. And he goes, "Oh," he explained the joke back to me. He's like,
God.
And then I was like, at this point, I'm like, fuck, I'm going to mess with them. I was like, oh, can you just say it one more time? Now I've had your explanation. If you just retell it, I reckon I'll get it this time and give you a laugh. And I just walked off.
Yeah. There's always racism. Like, I remember a guy starts telling me a joke at, it's that same kind of thing. Like, I got a joke for you. And you're like, yeah, okay. And then like the first line is like, couple of abos are walking along, right? And I'm like, all right, I don't want to hear the rest of this joke, man. Like it's, I guarantee the fact that they're Aboriginal has nothing to do with the punchline. Like, so you're just like, yeah, righto. Yeah. Have a great night, pal. I think was the Kevin Bridges is like, that's how you get rid of drunk guys at bars. You just slap them on the shoulder and like, have a great night, pal. And you just walk off.
God, then that's too good.
So useful.
It was a Paradise duck, which a Paradise Sheffield, and had a white head, brown body, and like me and my mate were chasing a chicken because we're bored and he's unemployed, so we had nothing better to do. Right. So we're chasing this chicken, and then this duck like head to the ground and runs at me, and like I'm 120 kg, 6 foot dude.
Yeah.
So I stay still thinking, oh, it's not going to chase me. It chased me, tries to bite at my toes, and then I run away. I figured out I'm slightly slower than this duck because I get that head start, and the duck's already chased up, like caught up to me. But then, like we had all these other people come across, walk past the duck right next to it. Like I was the other side of the car park. Head down, chase me, and if I ran, it ran faster, which was absolutely fucked. And then so yeah, families walking past it, nothing happened. And this, I swear to God, this duck started attacking. We saw him chase an old man. The old man didn't even realize. He like tried to bite at the back of his leg, and then he hits it, and the dude just turns around and he's like, what the fuck? Looks down, sees this duck, and walks.
Ducks are bizarre because I feel like we forget how harmless they really are. Like for some reason, something about a duck charging you is scary, but it shouldn't be. Like, what's a duck really going to do to us?
The thing is, like, my mate chased it, like, ran at it to try and scare it off. It started running towards him. And, like, we get into our car, and I kid you not, swear on my life this happened. The duck was literally, like, we could hear the noise in my car. He was fucking picking at the car door, and I kid you not. And then a lady comes up, and she's like trying to feed away from the car because we're trying to leave, but we couldn't leave because I don't want to accidentally kill this fucking psycho duck. The duck runs at her. And then she gets up, scared, and accidentally kicks it.
The duck's
just gets in her
chasing your
car and just drives off. Yeah.
The duck's
like
chasing your car
genuinely,
like the Terminator, and the second one where it's running up to the back of the car.
genuinely, it was like that running head on. And I was like, because we got in the car, we're thinking it will scare it off. It won't fuck with us. It fucking knew we were in the car, and it still wanted to attack. Like, that shit was genuinely the most. I mean, I don't run often, but that fucking thing had me literally scared to shit. It was cracked.
That duck is willing to die to defend its territory, eh?
But it's not even defending its territory because we first saw it like 10 minutes away from the car park, and it genuinely followed us to the car
wants
park.
the smoke. It wants the smoke, man.
And I was literally like to my mate, I was like, bro, we're not going to let a duck bully us. Like, what the fuck is happening? And then this little kid, because the duck starts messing around near a camper van, this little kid runs at it full speed, and the duck runs off. And then I'm like, hold up. It's scared of this 5-year-old kid that's like tiny, but a 6-foot man. He's like, yeah, this is my target. This is what I'm willing to take on.
Bizarre. I love it.
Genuinely the weirdest situation. Like, I don't go out in nature often, but fuck. Because my mate's mom, like, she's like a massive conspiracy theorist, right?
Yeah.
Like when I was 5 and I went to his house for the first time, I realized he doesn't have a mic, like a microwave.
Nice.
And now that I'm 22, she's like, it's a terrible thing with the Starlink. We're going to get 100% coverage. I was like, do you want to live off the grid? And she's like, yes. Do you know what's happening to the animals? And I'm like, okay, now I see where she's coming from. These fucking ducks are crazy because of Starlink shooting Wi-Fi rays at us.
He's going to know where you are too. He's going to be like, I'm chasing that. I'm chasing that guy.
Oh, god damn.
Classic. All right, well, this has been a pretty chill chat. Let's wrap this up here. We've easily got 40 minutes of content here. I appreciate you joining me, sir.
Anytime, boy.
Where can the people find you out in the world? On social media. Well, actually, no, where can they find you out in the world? Sounds like an address.
Okay, so my home address is 34 Ave Torbay 0630 Auckland, New Zealand. You can leave that in. That's not my address. That's just some random guy's address. My Instagram, Coomgram, COOMBE Gram. You can follow me home. You can follow me on Tinder. You can follow my OnlyFans. It's Taylor Ruddle feet pics. He doesn't know I've taken them yet.
Sensational. All right, appreciate your time, man.
Any good, mate. I'll catch you later, bro.
Hope you enjoyed that listen. Just a kind of chill out podcast episode. Two fellas talking to each other. If you need more Coombe in your life, you can catch him several areas online. The first one I would recommend you follow him on is his Instagram page, which is @Coomagram. You can also follow another Instagram page called Coombe and Friends. That's his kind of the name that Matt and my other good friend Craig Westenberg, when they do a solo show, they refer to the show as Coombe and Friends. Matt taking place of the Coombe, and Craig being the and Friends. They post some very funny it's kind of a shit posting page, I think, but it's worth a laugh, so go and follow them if you enjoyed Matt. And then more seriously, you can follow where he produces all of his shows. If you're interested in getting along to some of his comedy gigs, you can follow Laugh Mob NZ on Instagram. There is an underscore between Laugh and Mob. If you follow that page, you'll also see a little bit of my graphic design, as I tend to do a lot of design for Matt. Matt doesn't appear to use his Facebook, or doesn't use any Facebook for marketing, but he is on YouTube, where he posts shorts pretty much every day or every other day. So look up @It's Coombe on YouTube. He actually had an interaction with a punter go kind of viral and end up on some news websites when some guy from the crowd made some homophobic comments to him. So yeah, if you look up his YouTube page, you might be able to find that and see what happened there. As always for me, @Taylor Ruddle Comedy on all the social media platforms. as well as check out Can Do Comedy to see what kind of events we've got coming up. Winding down a bit for Christmas now. I think for the foreseeable future, it's just going to be Tuesday night quiz at Bridie's, Wednesday night quiz at Moi Moi, Thursday comedy show either at Austin Club or Spring and Fern, depending on the date. Check the page for more information. And that might be it for us. Got a few things in the mix coming up in 2024, but that is going to be basically it. It'll be the first year that I actually have a bit of a Christmas break. Every job that I've done, for whatever reason, I didn't get much of a Christmas break, so that's going to be interesting. I wonder how I'm going to respond to that. The podcast will keep rolling through all the way to the end of the year. It's a lot of fun to record, and a lot of guests are going to be sitting on their thumbs with nothing to do, so I'm sure they're going to be more than willing to come and record a podcast with me. Leave us a review on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or whatever podcast player you are listening on. That really helps me out a lot. I'd love to get the podcast back on the comedy charts sometime in 2024. So that's all from me once again. Really appreciate you listening. Hope you have a wonderful rest of the week. Ruddler over and out.